Hey everybody, it's Sketchy with Sketchy's Garage, and today we're down here with Joe working on an old Chevelle. What you into, Joe?
Just trying to get this old 66 lined around a little bit so we can get some paint on it.
Yes sir, she looked a lot better than she looked, huh?
Yes sir. About normal, ain't it?
Pretty much.
About everything we get a hold of.
As soon as you start taking the clothes off a little bit, they get ugly real fast.
Yep.
Show us what you're working with today, what you're fixing to do.
We got a low spot here they didn't finish getting out, so I'm going to have to add a little filler to it to sort of straighten it out and make it all look good.
You got to take that down to bare metal, or?
No, with the mud and everything we use, as long as the paint's stuck to it real good, we just rough it up with some 80 and put a coat over it and just build it back in together.
Okay, so what are you going to scuff the surface with?
80.
Does it matter if you do straight line, DA?
It doesn't matter. You're going to fill it anyway, and then you can come back and do what you got to do on the ass end of it.
All right. Show us how.
The main thing we're trying to do is get a good scratch in there to make everything stick and adhere the way it should.
What happens if you was to just stick it on that slick surface? Or say you just half-ass sand it?
Probably going to peel out of there and just fall out on you. Now if there's a big dent there, a great big old dent or something, then you know you're going to pack it out and you'd grind it out and get all that metal cleaned up where everything would adhere real good.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's just a shallow spot, we're just going to throw a light coat back in it.
You guys notice that he's sanding out well past his affected area. You want to make sure you do that just in case your filler ends up going out further than your area that you intended to be, just so it sticks good.
You can just see how it's still leaving a little shiny through here, even though you're straight line scratching it. It's a little low right there. That's one good thing about it anymore with the new fillers and everything you got. If the paint ain't broke, don't break it, because you're just defeating your purpose. If it's laid down there sticking, there's no sense in getting into it.
Just creating another area that you're gonna have to address.
And all we're gonna do is apply a thin coat.
What kind of filler are you gonna use today?
I like the 3M Platinum Plus. Some of the best filler out there. It's easy to use and it will stick to anything on any vehicle, whether it's aluminum, galvanized. It doesn't matter, it'll stick to it.
Like say you can apply it over OEM.
Bare paint, it's designed to go over bare paint or sanded bare paint, you know.
Yep, or bare metal.
Or bare metal, or primer, or anything like that. It's designed to do this. A little more expensive than your regular body filler, but it's worth it in the long run.
How does it sand in comparison to like some Evercoat Rage or something?
It sands excellent. As far as I'm concerned, there ain't another body filler out there. You know, they talk about the Rage and all that. It's good, don't get me wrong. It does the same thing, but it just seems to be a little harder to sand.
What are you putting in there?
The hardener for it. They give you a tube of hardener with a gallon of that, and if you use more than that, you've used too much.
Does that hardener work on everything?
Usually anymore to work on any 2-part component. As far as everything we've got here, it'll work in all of it, but they give you a smaller tube for the smaller bottle, and
So it works pretty much on everything, huh?
it'll work on everything but the fiberglass resin. It will harden it, but it will not harden it the way it's supposed to.
How hard does it get the stuff?
How hard does it get? It gets rock hard, big boy.
Hard as a rock. Huh. You got an extra tube of that stuff, Joe? When you mix it up, there any particular way you want to do it, or just do it?
Yeah, just mix it till I know all the blue is gone. Just sort of knead it together. I'll stir it a little bit first, then I'll start working it. Try to get all the air bubbles out of it. That way when you lay it in, it lays in pretty slick and sweet, instead of having a bunch of pinholes in it. And this stuff's good. It's really good, and you know it yourself. It's excellent about not pinholing too bad.
Like say, if you can get it in there and only swipe across it less than 3 times, you won't have a pinhole in it at all. If you gotta pull across there a little bit more than that,
You let it get hot and get ready to pop, you're gonna end up putting another coat in it.
as you can see, you put a lot of pressure on it or just firm pressure?
I just keep it firm and try to get a nice even coat in it, and then I'll come back and try to build what I need to build on.
One thing you want to do whenever applying filler, especially at a long distance like he's doing, you notice how he's always starting with his leading edge. You don't want to try to put filler in and then start right here and pull there, because you'll always end up putting a little low spot in it. So always start at the one end or the other. And if you happen to like start there and pull back, just make sure you run another swipe all the way across it to smooth it out. Just paint ready. You ain't gonna have to sand that, Joe.
It's just about there. You just gotta take your time, work it in there. Just need to work it in there real good and easy, and it'll come back to you. And it's good to work it back and forth both ways. That will get every little air bubble out of it. And just try to be consistent with it, and it'll work out every time for you.
All right, Joe, how long do you usually wait to sand that, and what do you break the skin with?
I'll probably bust it with a little 80, get it smoothed down a little bit, and then I'll come back with 180 and finish it out.
It'd be slick enough to put primer on after that?
Sir. Yes, sir.
that dry guide coat. So Joe, what's the most important thing about when you're running a DA sander?
Keep it moving, keep it flat.
You don't want to run it up on the edge?
No, sir.
Is that the #1 problem most people run into with
Yeah, they
DAs?
start digging stuff and they dig grooves and everything else in it.
Keep it flat to the panel. You see how easy? How do you tell when you got a good feather edge on your filler to your painted panel?
You can see everything around the edges is feathered, and if you stay on the mud itself, you'll see it start coming together and feathering in.
That gonna end up needing another coat, or is it pretty good?
It'll be all right. You didn't bring no guide coat though with you, did you?
No, sir. I thought you was gonna show us a magic trick.
I am.
You're gonna just show us how to use cigarette ashes guide coat?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I was getting ready to do. I grabbed that ashtray.
So you make your own guide coat, huh?
Well, it is not gonna hurt nothing. It don't work quite as good, but at least it gives it a little black look. It ain't quite as good as the real deal, but it'll work in a pinch.
In a pinch. What do you think, Jimmy?
I think it'll work in a pinch.
What are you blocking with? Is that
180. I needed to block all this down anyway. I was going to use that bad piece there to start off with.
That's one tip on saving paper. If you guys are doing a lot of filler work, always break the skin, so to say, with an old piece of paper, and then put a fresh piece on there once you got it dug off there, fuzz.
I know it's looking pretty good, but they can't see, so let me see what we got up here. Take a little can of flat black if you need to.
That's one thing, if you guys go to use rattle can for guide coat,
Just barely put it on there, just throw you a little bit around it.
put a real light mist on it.
That way you,
And flat colors work so much better than gloss colors. For some reason, gloss colors tend to gum up the paper.
wish I'd had more cigarette ash, but I didn't.
You smoked 47 cigarettes this morning?
I know, I smoked 50 up. Probably done smoked 2 or 3 packs this morning, but they're right there on the floor. He usually call me up and call it Joe's, what is it, Joe's Barn Pool Room? Show them here now. You can see as it's coming down. It's all starting to smooth in together.
Just got to work it in there. And like I said, what we're kind of going after is before there was like a shallow spot all the way in down the quarter, and that's because they put a partial quarter in right in here, and it was just a low spot that they never got out when they did the body work the last time. It didn't really look bad, but this color is super forgiving. This is one of those cars that will get you in trouble because it'll look fantastic in pictures, or if you go to one of those auction houses or something and under their lighting, it'll look incredible. But you get it to the house and start really looking at it, it'll kind of hurt your feelings a little bit.
Get it under the fluorescent lights and it'll kill it. Sunshine do it good. What is it, one that old boy used to say, a 20-footer?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20-footer.
And most of the bodywork stuff is pretty repetitive. All the steps are pretty much the same, like blocking your filler and blocking your primer, and it's more or less the same thing, just a little bit different substance you're working with. I guess the biggest thing about bodywork is just be patient. As you can see, all the black guide coat's gone. And if you notice, he was moving like an X pattern most of the time. You don't want to run straight line because you'll dig grooves. Joe, does smoking a cigarette make it easier to block one out?
No,
No?
I don't advise smoking at all. I wish I'd never started. But it just sort of, just like a beer or anything else, body work, paint work, it goes hand in hand.
They do say that most painters, it's very uncommon for them not to be alcoholics.
You stay around that paint all day and you just stay hyped up.
Well, a lot of them say it's just because they're chasing perfection and can They always find that one thing.
There's a fine line between right and wrong, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always trying to get, every job you do, you're trying to get the best paint job and the best thing you can do on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always chasing your tail.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple.
So how much?
Been chasing my tail for 40 years.
How much harder has it gotten in the last 10 years to be a body guy on, especially old stuff like restoration stuff?
You can't find nobody want to do anything anymore.
What about the physical act of it? Of having
It kills you. It kills you. I'm wore out right now and just barely got started on this. You know how it is. You know yourself. Ain't none of it easy. That's why nobody wants to do it. There's shops out there begging people to come to work, and there ain't nobody out there to go to work or do anything for them.
How's she feel?
Feels a lot better. Feels a whole lot better, my man.
Alrighty, we'll catch you guys on the next one.